Good morning and welcome to your last lesson on Pythagoras. Well, kind of, because we will be using it in the future, but this is the last official lesson before we move on to our next topic, which is called coordinate geometry, and we're going to move on to that on Monday. So, in these questions here, we have three squares, okay? Now remember, squares have equal sides. So all four sides are equal in length when it's a square. And you can see that this square here on the left, square number 1, this has a side of 4, and all the sides are 4. Square number 2, this side is 5. So what is this side if it's a square? It is also 5. And then this third square, this side is 7. So if that side's 7, how long is the other side? It is also 7. Exactly. I always do my 7s with a line across the middle. I don't know why. So now that we know how long each side is, the question wants us to find the length of the diagonal. Okay, see this word here at the top, diagonal. All right, so what they want us to do is they want us to find out how long this side here, I'll use a brighter color. That's not even bright enough. Maybe this will be. Yeah, here. They want us to find out the length of this side that I'm coloring in. I'll try using a different color. Maybe that'll be better. Oh, no. Anyway, my choice of colors is poor. But they want us to find out how long this side is, how long this side is, and how long this side is. That's called the diagonal, okay? Because it cuts diagonally through the square, all right? So we can see when we look at the squares that inside of a square there's two triangles, and they are right-hand triangles, which means that we can use Pythagoras. The theorem of Pythagoras is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We were doing it on Monday and we were doing it on Wednesday. So using Pythagoras, I'd like you to try and pause the video now and find out the length of the diagonal, all right, which is c. That will be c in Pythagoras' theorem. So if you know how to use Pythagoras' theorem, pause the video now, try and do these three questions. They're like your starter questions. And then press play and you can see how I've done them, or you can skip towards the end of the video and you can see if you got the correct answer. And if you didn't, you can just skip back to the start of the sum and see where you went wrong. If this is the first time you've watched these videos in a while, just watch the video and work along with me, okay? So we have A, B, and C. This will be A, this will be B, and C we don't know. So Pythagoras' theorem, we say a squared, so that is 4 squared, plus b squared, and b is also 4, so that's 4 squared, equals c squared. Now, 4 squared is 4 multiplied by 4, which is 16, plus 16, because 4 squared is 16, equals c squared. 16 plus 16 is 32, which is equal to c squared. Now we want to get c squared to become just a c. So what we do is we square root both sides, okay? We put a square root on both sides. And what that does is that cancels the squared beside the c, okay? And then we're left with square root of 32 equals c. Now, if you want, you can find out the square root of 32 with your calculators. But if you look at the question, it says in the question, you may leave your answer in square root form. And that means that if you want, you can leave your answer just like this. So that's acceptable. So it's much easier. You don't have to get out the calculator and you don't have to write down a big long number. So let's try and do the second square. If you think you could have a go at yourself, pause it and have a go. But if not, watch me do it now. So this is A and this is B. you can actually switch them around if you want. Like if you wanted to call the bottom of the triangle B, that would be fine. And if you wanted to call the top A, that would also be fine. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A is 5, so that's 5 squared. And B is also 5, so that's 5 squared. Equals C squared. 5 squared is 5 multiplied by 5, which is 25. Plus 5 multiplied by 5, which is 25. Equals C squared. So that is 50 equals C squared. And what we do is we square root both sides. And this square root and this squared, they cancel each other out. So we are left with the square root of 50 equals C. And that is our answer. Right. Now, if you've been watching me do the first two questions, try and do the next one. So, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A is 7 and B is also 7, but you can switch them around if you want to. Like you could say that the bottom is A and the side is B. It doesn't matter because they'll both be squared anyway. So we have 7 squared plus 7 squared equals C squared. 7 squared is 7 multiplied by 7, which is 49. And plus another 49, I'll just make my 9s a bit better, equals C squared. 49 plus 49 is 98, equals C squared. Now we want to get rid of the C squared, so we square root both sides. So the square root here cancels with the squared sign. So we are left with the square root of 98 equals C. And that is our answer. So they're pretty straightforward once you've done a few of them. Now, I'm going to give you a question now that I want you to do for homework. What I'm willing to do is give you a hint if you want it, but if you don't want the hint, you can just take down the sum, pause the video, take down the sum now, and try and do it. But if you do want the hint, just keep watching, okay? Okay, so you want the hint? Here's the hint. All right, what we do is we calculate the length of the diagonal of a given rectangle. So here's the rectangle, but we don't have the diagonal. Where's the diagonal? It hasn't been drawn yet. So what I do is I get my ruler and I draw a line through each corner. All right, so from, I won't do that. It's actually quite difficult to use these rulers on the iPad. It's much easier in person to use a ruler, or like when you have a ruler in real life, it's much easier than these electronic rulers because they are fairly fidgety. So I'm just going to call that that's good enough. So what you do is you get a ruler and you draw through the two corners. Now we have a diagonal. So this will be C, that can be A or B, and this can be B or A, it doesn't matter. And all we're doing now is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So try and do that for homework. And that is it for today's lesson. If you have any questions, give me a shout. It's a shorter video because it's Friday and there's less work because it's a lovely day and you should get outside and get some sunshine in your face. I'll see you Monday online. We're going to be starting coordinate geometry. And yeah, have a great weekend.